Now that we saw what happened, what we're going to be doing is an after action review where we talk about what went wrong, what went right, how we can use that information for ourselves. So the biggest thing here is we need to look at the setting. We need to put ourselves in this setting. Okay, so typically when I see this, I know that where we are, it's going to be more so on the outside of this really big shopping center. So think Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever it is. You're going to have a bunch of cars going into a big parking lot, and they're wanting to get in and out. And that's typically what we see here. We see that we have a turn lane, we have oncoming traffic in one single lane, and then we have our own self in this single lane going this way. If we're in this situation, we need to think about what could possibly be a danger to us. Now, typically with motorcycle riders, it is intersections and curves. There's no curves here. So the main thing here is going to be intersections. Well, is there intersections? Well, yes, there are. What I consider intersections is this right here, where there's going to be a vehicle that is going to be crossing any type of path of travel for me, and they're coming from a lane that is perpendicular to where I'm at. Now, it doesn't always have to be perpendicular. You have, intersections that are, a little bit slanted different ways. At the end of the day, this is typically an intersection. This is going to be like a T intersection, like an alley or anywhere just like in this, where it's not going to be that full cross intersection. So what I see here is that, yes, we have vehicles wanting to come in front of us. Now, that is going to raise my alert stage from yellow to orange. So this whole situation where we are, in this whole shopping center, vehicles wanting to come out in front of us, bad line of sight, as you can tell right now, we don't have a good line of sight of what's coming up ahead of us, and we're going to talk more about that, is that it should put you in a different stage of alertness. Now, yellow stage is when we're zoned in, relaxing, having a good time, but we're still paying attention. Orange stage is when we're in high alert, something could happen, and we're getting ready to go into red stage if we absolutely have to. Red stage is when we actually do some type of evasive maneuver, and that's if it's evasive, an emergency evasive maneuver. So you can do a lot of cool things, a lot of things to prevent accidents or emergencies by staying within orange and doing these very subtle things, which we'll be talking about pretty soon. So, but right here, as you can tell, we have really bad line of sight. It's on a crest, so we're going over a hill, so we can't see what's on the other side. We also have this truck now going into this turn lane and wanting to turn into this big shopping center. We already know that there's going to be cars coming in and out of this area. So with that in mind, we need to put ourselves into some type of theoretical, something could happen, this is what might happen because I know from my own previous experiences. So right here, definitely orange stage because I can't see over, and this guy's going to be blocking my view of anybody coming out, and he's also going to be blocking the view of anybody coming out to see me. So that's a big thing. So right here, we're going to get out of this area, and right here is going to be the person that's going to come out in front of us. Now, if we're going to go ahead and do this theoretical thing in our head, I want you to do something real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll back and get to the point where I think that this is right where the driver made a decision. So right here is where the driver made that decision to turn left into my path of travel to continue on with whatever they need to do. And the reason why I believe that is because if you look at it, this scenario right here, this situation, remember we're orienting ourselves to this, is that we have a massive area in front of us with no obstacles, no traffic, no nothing, okay? We have this massive area. So if I was the driver wanting to turn left in here, this is a prime opportunity to do it. But there's cross traffic, so I'm gonna go ahead and look the other way. So if we notice right here, we have two vehicles that just passed the path of travel of the car that wants to pull out, and then there's this huge gap between this vehicle right here and the vehicle way over there. Now that right there, coupled with the fact that we have this big area in front of us, that means that I have an opportunity as the car driver to shoot the gap and continue on with my day. Because who knows, maybe I've been sitting here for a minute and it's taking forever, I got somebody behind me, it's pissing me off, I'm just gonna do it. That's typical. That is going to happen all the time. But as a motorcycle rider, now that we have that information, if we start going into here and I'm already in orange stage because of the vehicles wanting to come out, I barely have escape paths to the left, but nothing really to the right. Big lane though, so I can utilize 1, 2, and 3. All these different things, but my line of sight is terrible. So I jumped into orange stage. And since I'm in orange stage, I'm hyper alert and I'm thinking of different things that could possibly be happening. And this is one of those big things that I actually think about all the time when I'm coming up to areas like this, that this is a typical situation that happens to motorcycle riders, car drivers, whoever it is. So if that's the case, we need to utilize that information that we've learned from riding and driving for so many years. Or if you're brand new, this is what you need to be learning now, that we can go ahead and predict these hazards, these things. And that's huge. That's huge in keeping us safe. So right here, this is going to be that gap that I was talking about where he shot out. as a motorcycle rider, if you see this, you know for a fact that this driver right here is going to do something within your path of travel at some point. So they could either turn into the first available lane, which is that turn lane, which is actually, you're not supposed to do that in a lot of states. You're supposed to go into the actual full lane, which is going to be our path of travel. But you see it all the time. They'll go into that turn lane, kind of wait, and then go when it's clear. But my assumption at all times is that this driver is not going to do that. This driver is going to go into my path of travel. Now what do I do? At this point, I'm still in orange stage. If we're not paying attention and we get to this point and it's like, oh crap, then you can go into red stage where you're doing some type of emergency braking, or you can do some type of swerving if you have room. It looks like there's not a lot of opportunities for swerving, so you're going to have either acceleration or you're going to have deceleration, which is braking. Acceleration is just gun it and get past this. But that's typically in an emergency situation. So around this stage, or around this spot, right? Let's go back to that right there. Around this spot is when, oh crap, something's going on. I'm in orange stage. What can I do that is not emergency evasive maneuvers, but will prevent an emergency in the first place? The one thing you can do that is going to be the simplest thing that you could possibly do. You don't have to reach for brakes. You don't have to slam anything. You don't have to downshift. You don't have to do nothing. You just have to go from whatever throttle position you're in right now to a little bit less. You're going to decelerate. You're going to have engine braking. So engine braking, when you decelerate, the RPMs in the rear tire, they're not going to be matched. So what's going to happen is that it's actually going to slow down that rear tire, which is actually going to slow you down. You're going to have a little bit of weight transfer to the front. So now that if you're prepped to apply the brakes, you have weight transfer to the front. See, this is where it's starting to happen if you did this prior to getting to a situation where you have to do emergency braking. So right here, go ahead and decelerate. Let this person go. Let them go. And when you decelerate, you're going to go from whatever speed to maybe 10 to 20% less, and that's going to give you even more of a space cushion. It's going to give you more time to do anything if you absolutely have to. Just in case, you know, this person decides to come into our lane and stop, now you are already decelerated, weight transfer to the front tire, apply the brakes, or now you can swerve with really good traction. So that's what I would be doing in the situation. Go ahead and decelerate a little bit. But what happens here in this situation for this rider is that he's going to go ahead and accelerate, and what he's going to do is he's going to go ahead and say, you know what, this is my lane, I'm entitled to it, I'm already in it, you're not supposed to merge if I'm in it, you should have seen me, I'm going to turn back and get upset with you and let you know that you made a mistake. That's two options, okay? Scenario one, decelerate, let him go, on with your day, go back into orange mode, because you're not going to jump into red, you're definitely not going into yellow because it's still a crazy situation until you get out of there, but you're relaxed. You saw it happen, boom, you did something, relaxed. But in this situation, when you do this and you accelerate, you just entered into a very dangerous situation. In firefighting, we have green, yellow, and red zones. So the green zone is when things are being staged and you start treating the wounded. Yellow stage is when you get into an area where it's okay, we either decon, but we're getting ready to go into a hazardous situation. So we need to have full prep, we need to do everything. And you go into the red zone where now you're just within the craziness. You're within the emergency now. You just entered the emergency, you're part of it. So what I typically like to do is stay out of that red zone, stay out of that area where the emergency is happening. So what I would do is I would never get in that situation. So I'd be in scenario one all the time where I'll decelerate and stay within the green and yellow zone. But right here we went into the red. Okay, so now right here, and I know we're throwing a lot of color codes at you, but I just wanted to let you know a little bit more of my firefighter backstory and history. So on this one, you put yourself in that emergency. You are now at the mercy of if this driver's going to stay right here. You're having to deal with all these different scenarios, different things. You added more to it when all you could have done just decelerate and relaxed a little bit and not done anything. Also, when you get to this situation, your adrenaline is definitely going to be pumping, and you're going to go ahead and look at this person and be like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Causing a scene for yourself, amping yourself up. But you're also traveling still, okay? So there's stuff in front of you that could possibly be another hazard. So it's really good to just kind of relax, settle down, decelerate, let the person go, and then sit back and still get a good view because you're on the outside looking in instead of being on the inside trying to look at different situations outside. Does that make sense to you guys? I hope it does. If not, I'm going to go ahead and work on that a little bit more. But definitely, guys, pay attention to what you're doing. Do not put yourself in that situation. But yes, guys, the main thing here that I want you to take away, the summary of it all, is that if you get into an area where it's like, okay, a lot of traffic, not a lot of escape paths, bad line of sight. Okay, so all these different things. Let's go ahead and bump myself up to orange. Let's be hyper alert. Let's be on the lookout for anything that could hurt us. And then if you start recognizing situations like, okay, there's a big gap right here. There's no one in front of me. There's people that could possibly come out. If I was that driver, I definitely would shoot that gap and try to go. That's when you start doing this theoretical stuff, and that's what I want you guys to be doing, and we have this wonderful visual aid to allow us to do that. And then number 2, guys, you have 2 options, or number 3, you have 2 options. You can either do something preemptive where you decelerate or just let somebody go, or you can put yourself in the emergency situation where now you have to do emergency maneuvers and you're in the red zone, which is very stressful and very dangerous, to be quite honest. Maintain a yellow and orange mode as often as you possibly can. Good riders never put themselves in situations that call for close calls or accidents, okay? But guys, I have a video today on the After the Ride channel. It's with Adobo Moto. He talks about vinyl wrapping, he talks about flipping his motorcycles, and he's just an overall good dude. Make sure you check out the video down below, and we have this great conversation. I just want to say thank you to all my patrons all the way over here on the left side of your screen. I really appreciate for all the support. That's it. Hope you guys ride safe, be safe, and pay attention out there.